3. Oh, and we've started Wayne's World and Kelly with our permanent special guest host whenever Wayne is out of the country or out doing his thing, Nouchelle Hastings. And we all, this is the 47th episode with our special guest, Sinisa from the Falcon Group. Everybody knows him. And if you don't know him, you're going to get to know him in the next 25 minutes. What else did I want to say? Oh, before we get started and we start, I released the mic to you guys who always like to hog the mic when I'm around. That Markle girl and that hairy guy that used to be the Prince of England or Great Britain or whatever his title was, they made it 12 episodes of their podcast before they couldn't do any more. And we're on number 47, and that jacks me up. So
great success. Great success, I have to say.
I tell you what, and
Kelly's mine.
And our guests keep getting better and better and better. So those first 10, no, I'm just kidding. No, we're excited. And you can't have everybody on one show. Sinisa, thank you for not giving me a hard time pre-show of saying, gee, why did it take you so long to get me on? You know, you have a busy schedule and I've been wanting you on. So, but I was waiting till you could get a good haircut.
I do appreciate that. And even that I couldn't do on my own. I have to wait for you and Nouchelle to organize that. So I appreciate you giving me a full prep. I feel like a star here. I have to say, you know, I get a haircut for the show, special treatment, the milestone 47 episode, like unbelievable.
It's
epic.
Other than I've got right off camera, and I love the way you can't see anything else behind the camera. I've got the producers, I've got my copy runners, I've got my hair and makeup people, you know, but you are the first guest that we actually had a haircut arranged for the show. So
I do feel special. I mean, like I said, the milestone 3 short of 50, I'm feeling very special here. Maybe not like the second before 50 or first or 50th, but I'm very close. So I thank you very much for that.
Well, you know, in next month, which is days away, it's Shark Month. So we're having 4 attorneys, which is the opposite of an engineer. No, just kidding, sharks. I started to pick on sharks for a minute, like they don't already have enough at it. But so
Mr. Wonderful might be watching. Don't do it, Kelly.
I got to behave. One of our guests is over in Israel right now for Shark Month. And so I'm looking forward to hearing a lot about the law and what's going on with, you know, Florida, but also, you know, I hear about his trip to Jerusalem, which is pretty cool. So, you know, I tell you, we've got Wayne in Mexico. We got one of our secret guests next month in Israel, and he's in a few other countries too. But yeah, I mean, and you're heading out of town in a couple of days, aren't you? Where are you heading?
A couple of weeks.
Couple weeks.
Yeah, I'll be heading to Europe, Serbia, and Greece.
I tell you, living the dream.
Listen, he's living the dream. He's going back to where he used to, you know, have a large affiliation with basketball. He's probably going to go back, going to be waiting at the airport. Sinisa.
Huge signs, welcome home. It's just a visit. You got to come back.
I will show you all those videos, you know, the thousands of people welcoming me. You know, I will definitely post that. So
I love it.
Promo material for the show. This is the guy that was on our show, episode 47. 35 more episodes than Meghan Markle and the other guy.
That's right, baby.
So fast on his feet. Fast on his feet.
So
when did you leave Serbia and come to the United States? And was there anywhere in between?
No, I left, I came or left same way, 2010. So actually, in 2 days, it's going to be our 13th anniversary of coming to United States.
Which is, you know, 12 for Markle and her boy, 13 for you.
See, even more years. Everything. We're winning on everywhere.
So let's talk about the American dream being alive, right? So you come here 13 years ago, a ragtag immigrant. Now you're running. Okay, you weren't really a ragtag. I made that up.
To be honest, I wasn't really an immigrant at that time either. So I was.
Did I get anything
He
right?
was lost in space. He was somewhere.
But you come rolling in 13 years later, you're one of the top engineers of one of the top engineering companies in Florida. That's not too shabby.
Oh, I'm not complaining. I'm very happy and proud of what myself and my family, my wife accomplished in these 13 years. It's been a struggle. Everybody you talk to, when we talk to the people that came here before us and their experiences, everybody puts a number 5 as a number of years that you're either going to make it or break it, kind of a thing. So, it's like it takes 5 years for you to see some, fruits of the labor, so to speak. And in reality, it is, and in my case, it proved to be very similar to that. It took us a good 4, 5, 6 years to start really, turning the things around from ragtag immigrants to, full-fledged, let's say, call it equal members of the society.
I love it. You're equal, but far above in many people's opinion, because you definitely, first of all, I have accused you behind your back of being a triplet because I see you everywhere. It's amazing.
It's a magic trick. It's a magic trick. I have, like you said, you have producers and hairstylists. I have an unbelievable a group of people around me. Some that work with me, some that know me, some on this show as well, that really spread the stories around that, people tend to believe. I'll still have to see why, but the story goes on,
You're a likable guy, Sinisa.
That must be the case. Yeah.
And people are always accusing you of being extremely intelligent. And I have nothing against that. I think it's true. So
I would like to think so. Either that or I'm really good at BSing. So one of those things. We'll have to figure out what it is. But
so for the people that don't understand that means he also sings like Barbara Streisand. Just
yeah, I don't know if you have those beeps, so I don't want to use the foul language that I'm kind of known for as well. Yeah. So I know
he said that those people that use those words are very intelligent. I think you said 60 Minutes that makes you a genius.
Well, that is true. That's how I want to justify my language, right?
No genius is watching 60 Minutes. First of all, that show jumped the shark decades ago. It used to be a great show.
It was about that particular word that he uses. It was that episode. That one was one that he paid attention to. Trust me, he did.
The first 10 episodes, my only pregame with all of our guests was there was no bad language to be used. And then I gave up.
Producers, we've got to stop the show now.
And so our agreement was when, that other guy, Wayne, wherever he is, our agreement was we don't edit any part of the show. We go 25 minutes, no editing, which is really getting us off track on why we're supposed to have you here today. But this is just the way us three roll, so I love it. So
I'll do my best to keep this really PG show and don't use any
producers. Please send us Sinisa number 2.
Yeah, really? Where's the other one? He's actually at 2 different events right now. So where do you come first? Do you come to South Florida when you come to the U.S.?
Yeah, that basically I came here and stayed here. Well, technically, I was brought here by my girlfriend at the time. It was her desire, her wish to come here. We came. She insisted. I said yes, and we stayed, and it's been a good journey. I mean, I was listening to another show today, and they're saying you have to listen to your wife. And I've been trying to fight that urge a lot, to listen to my wife. But it turns out that there is a lot of good advice coming from her. I just have to realize that, it takes some time sometimes.
Who am I
that's
supposed
the problem with those engineers.
I need to find a wife.
Always processing.
I think we should do an episode in August on finding me a wife, maybe.
Are you willing to listen?
Yeah, that's the problem. Are you willing to listen?
You got to walk before you got to have the wife before I can listen to her. So.
Yeah, but we came to South Florida, and we actually came for a vacation. And long story short, through a lot of legal mumbo jumbo, the year when we came, 2010, was one of the years where the economic crisis was all over the world. So everything was in recession. So there was certain legal processes that are usually not available that late in a year, like we're talking August, September, October, November, that were available that year. So that kind of allowed us to apply for certain visas at the time, and through that process we were able to stay.
Nice. See, and that's the way immigration's supposed to work. We're supposed to bring in the brightest and the most talented, and ones that can make the most adorable kids, because I've been around your kids a few times, and your wife's doing a bang up job with them.
It's not me for sure. So
no argument here.
But Sinisha's the first one to tell you, thank my wife. Thank my wife.
But went fishing with your son one time, and I saw him when I was playing Santa Claus last year, and but they're just adorable, and your daughter's all little girl, and your son's all boy, and it's just fun to watch them, grow. But
thank you very much. I do enjoy a lot spending time with them. They're not here right now, and they're in Europe with my wife, and we have this when we talk, and my wife is like, hey, at least you get some time off, you get to relax and all of that. And I say yes. On one hand, I get to sleep, which is very nice for a change. But on the other hand, having kids at home, it really allows me to kind of disconnect from work, because you come home and then kids are waiting, and I don't care really what you did at work and who upset you or who not. So you come home and now you have different set of problems, which kind of allows you to reset completely. Now right. I come home and okay, let's think more about work.
Oh, so no.
I don't have to kind of disconnect.
I like that perspective.
Kelly, you know what I love though? I love when Sinisa interacts with his boy. I mean, his daughter's brilliant, but she's the oldest, so she's got to look out for the little brother who's not so little anymore. But I love how he tells his son, "I love you," right? And he goes, "I love you too, Dada." Like that is what a genius. That's what a leader. That's what the person who disconnects from work comes home and says to their kids, "I love you." And that's an example that every business owner, every leader that's watching, that is something that you all should be so thankful for, that you get to go home and tell your little one, "It's been a hard day, but I love you." Like that's, Sinisa, that's my kiss up for today.
Oh, you've done an awesome job. Thank you very much. I mean, great.
I have eight brothers and sisters, and growing up, when I would come home and all my other brothers and sisters were there, my parents would always come up to me and they go, "Oh, we love you, Kelly." So this is back when you used to have favorites.
When you were allowed, not anymore.
Well, my parents have passed, so it doesn't happen anymore. But the rare times I hit a golf shot, I look up at the sky and I see my dad smiling down on me, going, "You paid attention once every 40 shots."
Hey, better something than nothing. So come on.
Yeah, but I have one daughter, so my one daughter got all my attention and all my love. So I wish I would have shared it with more. So I guess with my prospective wives, if they have kids, it's okay.
He's putting it out there.
So let's talk a little business.
Absolutely.
Although we do have to mention today's sponsor would be Dawn Miller of the Paving Lady. So
short commercial break.
That's right. Well, but we're back. So how are the challenges going with all the laws that are changing for you and your team and your clients? How's that playing out? And how do you like what's going on in Tallahassee?
Well, so if I take the politics out of it, I have to say I'm a strong believer in regulations of certain sort. Not to say that us as people shouldn't be trusted, but at the same time, we sometimes need a little nudge to move in the right direction. And I think that the initiative to, put the maintenance of the properties on the, in front of the association, in front of the board is an excellent initiative. And I really applaud the intent of the legislation, which I believe its intent of the legislation is to basically make the association, for the lack of a better word, to maintain their property. Now, the challenges come from the delivery. I think the delivery of that may not be such a great example of how we write laws. Starting with SB4 and now with the new legislation, I think 154 that came out. In my opinion, it's better than it was, but still leaves quite a few things either unanswered or somewhere in the gray area left to interpretation. And that brings a lot of confusion to the clients, to the condo world, to the attorneys, to the board members, to the managers, and frankly, so the engineers. It's one of those things, when you call an engineer and you say, hey, we need to do these things, and what should we do? You expect your engineer to have answers to those questions. Like, what do I do? How do I do it? What's going to cost? What's going to mean for us? And when your engineer has no answers, you're like, wait, I thought you're supposed to know this. Aren't you the professional? Like, how come you don't know this?
Right.
And the reason why we don't know is because, like I said, those interpretations are somewhere between the engineering, legal, reserve specialist, and just general public. It
Right.
is difficult to navigate through the legal language of both of those laws and figure out strictly what the requirements are. There is also that uncertainty in the condo world, especially regarding, well, is this going to be enforced? Is this going to be changed? Like, why do I spend the money today if next year they're going to come up with a brand new law, and now the money we spend now, I have to spend another portion again? Should I wait to finish this? I have a deadline, and they seem to be moving those deadlines a little bit. For how long, we don't really know. So there are a lot of those questions that some people want to be, upfront and then, finish with that. Some people want to wait. And the truth is, I don't really know that there is a best answer to that question.
Well, there is a best answer, and that's hire an owner's rep and let them navigate it for you.
And here you say
another commercial.
Can you believe I promoted my own company? I rarely do that on this show, but I just did it. But no, I agree with you 100% because there is some gray areas because we have a couple factions working in Tallahassee. And I agree with you. Like, first of all, I guess technically I'm a conservative or a libertarian, no secret to the world on that one. But I'm a libertarian to when I want to let people just whatever floats your boat, as long as you're not affecting the rest of the country, just have at it. Just, I don't want to see it. I don't want to hear about it, and don't bother anybody else. But when it comes to the safety of the buildings, that's where you and I, or the three of us, are all in agreement that, yeah, that's where you really have to, this is people's safety. If you go out and do something stupid and hurt yourself, shame on you. But when you're going to be living in a communal, a high-rise condominium, we have to, and left to your own demise, you don't want to spend the money. People would rather spend money on vacation than a root canal. And basically what we are at these projects is they're just huge root canals. They're painful for everybody. Nobody wants to spend the money. But you know what? What's after a root canal? Peace. Right?
Yeah.
No more pain. You get everything going right. But people go, well, what if the legislation changes a year from now? Well, hopefully it'll continually get better because those gray areas need to have some light shined on them. And as owners reps, as engineering firms, as general contractors, as attorneys, we're all trying to do the right thing, but we're always going to have those board members or those residents that think all we're trying to do is, rob their piggy bank. We're trying to keep them from that vacation and give them the root canal. So I'm glad you shined a light on that. And I think it's important for everybody to understand that, we struggle with this stuff too. And we don't have all the answers. Although, as professionals, we have a lot of them. but we do have to figure out what the legislation means. But I always push on, well, let's do something that's so good that if they change the legislation, we're going to be okay.
Oh,
And that's why safety is important. Safety first. Sinisa, I didn't mean to cut you off, but you're used to that, right?
Now I'm going to cut you off because let me say this. Do you want to know when the legislation is going to get tighter? And this is my opinion. None of my sponsors are behind this. I think the next tragedy is probably going to be the next step. And it's going to, unfortunately, it's going to happen.
Well, Kelly, that's what I was going to say. A year ago, Sinisa was all over the news that they were coming to your house, with Surfside. And, God bless you for that, endless, tireless times waking up and you have the media at your house wanting an interview on the weekends and different things of that nature. But we consistently, Sinisa, heard you talk about safety, not the rhetoric, not what's going on right now in Tallahassee. You have been a huge advocate of safety first. You're in board meetings, so 7 to 9 o'clock at night, you're telling them no matter what those gray areas are that Kelly talked about, the number one thing is safety. Is your building safe? And if you can't answer that question, then that's why I'm here. And Sinisa, I really like for you just to take a few minutes for those that don't know why safety is so important.
Well, yeah, I appreciate that, Nouchelle. So the bottom line is this. We have to separate two things. One is the administrative requirements that are coming as laws and legislation. And the other one is just real time, real life. And this is what I'm always saying, and goes back to what you just mentioned, Nouchelle. It is regardless of what the law is, what the requirements are, it is the association's, the building's responsibility to maintain the property. Regardless whether they want you to inspect the property every 10 years, every 25 years, every 50 years, whether you should do reserves for this or that, that has no bearings into whether you should maintain or not maintain the property. Nouchelle, that I was always telling people when I'm doing those classes for CU that if you do proper maintenance of your property, any of these recertifications, any of these legal requirements become nothing than just a piece of paper that somebody wrote, everything is okay, and you are done for the next period of time, whatever that is. This is the key. The maintenance of the property. Looping back into Champlain Tower South, we don't know what happened. It's a tragedy of, something that has never been seen, not in the United States, not in Florida, but generally building collapsing on its own without any apparent or visible distress to that extent that would, be connected with the collapse of the structure. We still don't know what the cause is. There are different theories out there. There are different assumptions. All of that. But one thing that we do not know, whether that has played a role in the collapse or how big of a role it played, is that there were certain damages on the property. What I tell the people, what you need to do, eliminate the things you control. You cannot control the design of the building. You didn't design it, you just live there. You cannot control the construction. Whoever built the building, build it. You have to put trust that that was controlled and inspected and done properly at the time the building was built. But what you can control is when there is concrete damage on the building, when there is water intrusion through the deck, when there is roof failure. Go and fix it. Go replace that roof. Go maintain that roof. Paint that building on a 7 to 10 year schedule. Fix the concrete problems. Fix the spoiled concrete, fix the corroded rebar, replace the deck waterproofing. Those are the things that you do control.
Don't forget the pool.
The pool as well. So those are the things that you do control. Those are the things that you can eliminate. So if you eliminate those, you are eliminating everything that you can.
And
The things that are design-wise or original construction-wise are things that you cannot control. And we all rely that those professionals that design your property, those professionals that built your property have done their job right. And frankly speaking, the empirical data suggests that they mostly do. All of these buildings, and we have thousands and hundreds of thousands, even millions across the United States, are the proof that the system of design and construction works. Can it be improved? Can it be better? Absolutely. And I think we are working in that direction. But our job is to make sure that we do our part, which is regularly maintain and repair our property. And that's the only message I want to forget about legislation, forget about reserve studies. If you do your part timely and regularly, all of those requirements become nothing but a just piece of paper with somebody's signature on it.
Yeah.
Without mentioning the name of a property, James and I were at a property 4 years ago, and they did not move forward with repairs. And it wasn't a real old building, but it was a building that had to be properly maintained. A very high-end, very nice building. We went back over there recently, and the deterioration in the last 4 years seemed like a lot more than 4 years. And the board member who we were meeting with had not lived there 4 years ago. And that's probably how we got stuck on the board. Very sharp man, but got, lost a bet. Now he's on the board. But no, he really does care about his property. And, when James was saying, well, wow, these expansion joints and the deck and everything, if we would have dealt with this 4 years ago, it would have been a lot less expensive. And it's always going to be interruptive. The disruption's always going to be there. But, act early, maintain, you just said 7 to 10 years on the paint. I say 7 years. We're in South Florida. Don't let those 3 years go by. And I'm, Bear and Sherwin-Williams and those guys, they're not sponsoring me. I'm just saying that, boy, you slow down my work if you just take care of your building, and that's listen to your engineers, listen to your owner's reps, listen to the guidelines on how you're supposed to take care of your building. And when there is a problem, you call Sinisa. Yeah. They're a little low on work lately. Now, that's a challenge, is trying to keep up with with everything. And we're doing the best we can.
I love that. When there is a problem, call Sinisa. That's the thing. I only answer. Nobody calls me for a drink. It's only comes when there's a problem.
And they call when you're driving out the door. Board members, they need answers. And I would say this, Sinisa will take his time and make sure that a board member or a board president, a board president, not a board member, but the board president, that he has or she has the information to take back to their board. And then he'll come in and he'll talk with them. I have seen you, Sinisa, after these expos, like 30 minutes in the parking garage because someone wasn't sure of the things that you said. So I know that you're passionate about safety. That's the oath that you took as being a structural engineer. And I just want to say, once again, thank you for driving home the fact that it's not about legislation. It's not about dollars, because if you don't pay now, as Kelly said, you will pay later if the building is unsafe. But he always ends, Kelly, I don't know if you ever sat in one of his classes, he always ends, if the board does their job by proper maintaining the building, you won't need my services as much. Who says that?
Yeah,
that's how serious he is about safety. So, this is a real great podcast. And I just want to say, and I'm so happy to be a part of it, because I've seen the matriculation over the 5 years. And I've also seen when boards have not done the work, and then they're looking for an answer. Like it's Friday night and they go, we need an answer by Sunday.
Yeah. Oh, well, we don't want to pay any more for it. And let's do that as a close. And we love our clients. Yes. We do. We really do. Look, none of my fingers are crossed, because that's what drives us. That's why and there's a lot easier worlds we could be in than the ones we choose, which is multifamily, owned housing. But I'm going to say this one time, and I won't say it again until next year. If you're on the board, if you're a community member, understand that, for the most part, because I know there's always those people that have other motives. But if you've hired them, have faith in them, respect them, honor them, do not yell at them, be adults in the room, and understand this is a process, and it's a process where we want to come to a happy ending. I mean, at the end of the day, Sinisa is signing off on a lot of very important documents. And he takes his professional engineering license very seriously. That's his seal. Exactly. And people need to get it. And I don't care where they came from in their previous career, Sinisa knows South Florida. And, the professionals in South Florida, it's different than New York, Chicago, Cincinnati, LA. We have our own problems with our own buildings, and just know that, you know, that it's, you have to appreciate, and that doesn't mean, and we're all getting compensated, you know, for our time, but just let's everyone try to get on the same train and move the same direction when it comes to making your building right. Choose the right partners.
Yeah.
You know,
don't leave it just up to lawmakers either. We've got to play a role in this. We have to play a role in this. This is on us. They're making the laws, but this is on us. We need to be in their faces, giving them guidance. We really need to take a fresh look at now what? Where are we going from here?
Right. In our free time.
I do appreciate, I just want to mention something, and Kelly, you touched on it, saying, you know, we love our clients. You know, I don't think that maybe people, or a lot of people, especially in the condo world, first of all, know what it means to live in a condo, and second of all, understand what the board does and what the manager does of the building. Myself included, when I came to South Florida, and I'll give you this anecdotal thing, when I came to United States, you know, that 2010, and, you know, got introduced to a you know, position or a job of a property manager, and met property manager for the first time in an office in a building. And I came there and I left that meeting with the property manager, and I'm like, you know, kid from Serbia, well, not so kid so much, but a guy from Serbia, you know, in America. And he's like, these Americans come up with these jobs. I'll use the BS again, this BS job of a property manager sitting somewhere, you know, chilling whole day. Like this is beautiful. This is great. I don't know who came up with this, but I want to be this. Now, fast forward, I actually start to understand what they do, what property manager does, what property manager goes through. And today I'm saying, not in a million years would I be a property manager. It's a position where you have all your unit owners, basically your bosses, and you have to kind of maneuver the life of the building as one person. And Nouchelle says meeting 7 to 9. Their life is, you know, 6 in the morning to 8 at 9 at night. No weekends if the things are like that. So it's a very, very difficult job. And then on top of that, the board members, regardless of anything, but board members, that's not a paid position. They're, you know, it's a voluntary position where you are taking a job, and I want to say a thankless job, that you are going to, they are trying to do right by everybody. And that's impossible, because doing right by everybody, you know, it's kind of oxymoron. There's not such a thing, you know, where you can do that, but you still have to push through, and you have legal liabilities for the decisions you are making. So there's a lot of burden on board members and on property managers to make the right decisions that are almost often or almost always, they have a financial impact on not just them, but the whole community. So I do understand the certain delays in decision making, the certain why things take longer in the condo world. But that's the nature of the beast that we have in this industry, and that's something that we all have to acknowledge and in a not maybe appreciate, but to understand and work with it. There are certain things that could be done faster, by all means, and like you said, waiting 4 years to finish some repairs, definitely it could be done way faster. But there are also certain limitations why there is certain resistance with board members making certain decisions, because if start impacting, like if I have to increase the monthly fee from 300 to 700, there's a riot in the building.
Right.
There's a vote. Yeah. Wow.
And I'm glad that they're not property managers, they're community association managers. And there is a big difference. If you're doing commercial work, you don't really care about the inhabitants. It's a huge job as a community association manager. And I there's no way I would want that job. I'm with you 100%. And we have a lot of they become friends of ours, and because we're like what they say, there's no atheists in the foxhole. we're all in it together trying to,
We're
get
all
through
in
this
it
thing.
together.
And the same thing with the board members.
Seeing our cams.
Yeah. Board
We
members
love
can't
our
go.
cams.
Board members can't go to the pools a lot. Because if a board member goes to the pool, somebody goes, "Oh, let me go and interrupt their private time to go complain about something," and it's a crazy world, and it's the one we choose. And you know what? If you're going to try to compete every day, Rockin Wellness is a great shake to have. Just go to rockinwellness.com, and you can be physically ready every day. 60 years old, baby.
You're not by yourself, baby. 60 years without rocking.
That's right. I've been rocking for 12 years. I started rocking right after you came here, Anisha. So coincidence? I don't know.
13
All I
years
know
ago.
is Markle and Prince Harry only made it 12 episodes. So
Like I said, this is we are ruling them. No pun intended.
Who are they? I don't even know who they are.
They'll be waiting for you at the airport. Yay, Tanisha's home.
We'll
Just
see.
as long as they send you back, that's all we care about. But
That's all we care about.
I'll do my best to come back.
and we're gonna have you back on the show because there's a lot more to talk about. But I definitely better sign off because you guys got to work. Sinisa,
Yeah.
not only you somebody we do business with, I consider you a friend and a brother, and I'm just honored to have you in my circle. Nouchelle, I love having you as our permanent guest host, and I want everybody to have a wonderful rest of the week. A happy July 4th for all of us citizens and everybody else.
Hey, Sinisa.
Yep.
So
I can say that now.
that's right. I love it. I remember the day it happened. So it's very cool. I was born here. I love that. I love it when people choose that route. So,
Well, Kelly, one last thing before he signs off. Sinisa, am I allowed to come for barbecue? Because you're a great grill master.
Absolutely. More than welcome.
Robert Lozano sitting there going, "Who's great?"
Sinisa the great.
Y'all gonna have to, we might have to have a cook-off.
Absolutely.
He's down for it.
I do Serbian stuff, so we can do it.
We'll bring the Spice King in. We'll have him be the judge.
Absolutely.
And you know who's not invited? Meghan and Harry. Not invited.
No. Listen, we don't exclude. We'll invite everybody.
That's it. We're inclusive, Kelly. Inclusive.
Always trying to make me better. Love you, brother. Love you, sister.
Listen, but for the wrong reasons, we're going to invite them and show them this is how it looks when you have 47 episodes. Just so you know.
I love it.
Like Sinisa the great.
All
right, guys. Have a great rest of the week, and I'll see you soon. Have a safe trip.
Thank you for
Thanks for having me.
Been fun.
You,